I came back home from work that evening and headed upstairs with a migraine and my muscles aching from work stress, and suddenly Dana shoved me, and I blacked out. Shortly my eyes opened, head buzzing like a loud electrical hum. When I lifted my eyes, I saw feet, my sister's bare feet, painted toes, ankle bracelet glinting under the lamp. Behind her, my husband stood buttoning his shirt, avoiding my gaze. Dana tilted her head and smiled down at me like I was pathetic. "Maybe if you knew how to keep a man," she said softly, "he wouldn't have come to me." I felt shock, anger, and humiliation all at once. My world shattered in one heartbeat. I tried to stand, but my legs felt weak. The room spun, and my vision blurred. Everything I thought I knew about my life dissolved in that single moment. The sister I protected, and the husband I trusted, both standing over me like I was nothing. I scrambled up, dizzy, gripping the coffee table. Mark refused to look at me, and Dana didn't care. She gave a small shrug, casual, cruel, and whispered, "You made this so easy." The unfairness burned through me. Their betrayal wasn't the worst part. It was the confidence and arrogance. They genuinely believed I drove them into each other's arms. Mark finally spoke. His voice was flat, emotionless. "Elise, this isn't what you think." But it was exactly what I thought. Dana crossed her arms and leaned against the wall. "You've been cold to him for months. What did you expect? Cold. I worked 50 hours a week to help pay our mortgage. I cooked, I cleaned, and I supported every dream Mark ever had. And this was my reward?" Dana smiled again. That same smug smile she'd worn since we were kids whenever she got away with something terrible. But this time would be different. "My name is Elise. I am 38 years old, white American, and until that night, I thought my life was stable. I grew up with a sister who had a talent for chaos, but I always chose to protect her, defend her, and explain her. That night, she explained herself perfectly, and I realized this story wasn't about losing a husband, but it was about finally seeing the truth. Dana was 2 years younger than me. Growing up, she was the wild one, the one who skipped school, borrowed money she never repaid, dated men who treated her terribly. I was the responsible one, the one who bailed her out, the one who made excuses when our parents got frustrated. I thought that was love. I thought that was what sisters did. But looking at her standing in my bedroom, wearing my robe, smirking at my pain, I understood something crucial. Dana didn't need protection. She needed consequences. 3 months before the betrayal, Dana temporarily moved into our guest room after a breakup. She cried. She apologized. She promised she'd find her own place in 2 weeks. Mark wasn't thrilled, but he said he understood. Looking back, that was the first shift, the first time she inserted herself into my marriage with a smile and a suitcase. "It's just until I get back on my feet," Dana had said, tears streaming down her face. "Please, Elise, I have nowhere else to go." I couldn't say no. I never could with Dana. Mark pulled me aside that first night. 2 weeks, Elise, and that's it. I love you, but I need our space back." I promised him 2 weeks. 2 weeks turned into 3, then 4, then 12. Dana always had an excuse. Her job interview got postponed. Her apartment application got rejected. Her car broke down, and she needed to save money. Mark stopped complaining after a while. I should have wondered why. Dana accidentally told Mark my private frustrations about our finances. She forgot to pass along messages from my mom, making me seem careless. She wore dresses too tight for the living room and fake innocently asked Mark for help opening jars. I laughed it off, but I shouldn't have. One evening, Mark came home angry. "You told Dana you think I'm bad with money?" I froze. That's not what I said. I told her we needed to budget better. Both of us. But that's not how she heard it, he replied. Dana appeared in the doorway, expression innocent. I'm sorry. Did I misunderstand? She knew exactly what she was doing. Another time, my mother called upset. Why didn't you tell me about the dinner invitation? What invitation? Dana said, she told you last week. She hadn't. And the dresses, the low-cut tops, the way she'd lean over the counter when Mark was nearby. When I mentioned it, she acted offended. Are you jealous of your own sister? Mark became colder, quieter. He even stopped kissing me goodbye. He worked late, but came home smelling like vanilla lotion, a scent I didn't use. When I mentioned it, he said I was paranoid. Then Dana started wearing vanilla lotion. The signs were everywhere, but I didn't want to see them. Mark stopped holding my hand during movies. He stopped asking about my day. When I tried to initiate conversation, he'd give one-word answers and turn back to his phone. You're imagining things, he'd say whenever I brought up my concerns. I'm just stressed about work. But he wasn't too stressed to laugh with Dana in the kitchen. He wasn't too stressed to help her move furniture in her room. He wasn't too stressed to drive her to job interviews when her car supposedly wouldn't start. One morning, I found a receipt in his jacket pocket. Dinner for two at an expensive restaurant downtown. Client meeting, he explained when I asked, but the date was a Saturday. We hadn't been out together in months. At a family dinner, Dana joked that Mark needed more emotional support than some people can give. The table laughed. I felt the sting of humiliation. Mark didn't defend me, and he didn't even look at me. My parents hosted the dinner. My aunt and uncle were there too. Everyone was celebrating my father's birthday. Dana waited until everyone was relaxed, wine flowing, before she struck. Mark's been so stressed lately, she said, touching his arm. It's hard when you don't get the support you need at home. The table went quiet for a moment. Then my uncle laughed uncomfortably. Well, marriages work, right? Dana smiled. Some people are just naturally better at emotional labor. My mother glanced at me, confused. I wanted to scream. Instead, I excused myself to the bathroom and cried silently for 5 minutes. When I returned, Mark was laughing at something Dana said. My own family dinner, my own humiliation, and nobody noticed. Then I installed a small nanny cam in the living room because things kept going missing, bills, my planner, even my car keys. I wanted proof Dana was messing with me. Instead, the camera recorded something far worse. Something I didn't have the strength to watch until the night everything exploded. I bought the camera online. It looked like a normal picture frame, so I placed it on the bookshelf, angled toward the couch. At first, the footage was boring. Dana watching TV, Mark coming home from work. Normal household activities. But I kept the camera recording. I told myself I was being paranoid, that I was overreacting, that my sister wouldn't actually sabotage me. The files are saved automatically to a cloud account. Days of footage. Weeks. I didn't watch them right away. I was afraid of what I'd find. On some level, I already knew, but knowing and seeing are two different things. The night I finally watched, I wished I'd stayed ignorant. But ignorance wouldn't have saved me. I walked in early from work. Mark and Dana were too quiet. Dana panicked and shoved me. I hit the side of the table and blacked out. I didn't know the full truth yet, but the camera did. My boss had sent me home early that day. The budget meeting got canceled, so I was grateful for the unexpected free time. When I opened the front door, the house was silent, just too silent. I climbed the stairs, my work bag heavy on my shoulder. I pushed open the bedroom door, and there they were. Dana saw me first, and her eyes went wide. She moved fast, hands out, and pushed me hard in the chest. I stumbled backward. My heel caught on the rug. As I fell, head cracking against the corner of the hallway table. Everything went black. When I woke up, they were standing over me, fully dressed, faces pale. And Dana was already rewriting history when I regained consciousness, and they blamed me for driving Mark away. A strange calm spread through me. I realized they thought I was broken and defenseless. Good. That's exactly what I needed them to think. Mark crouched beside me, but he didn't help me up. Elise, you need to understand something. This happened because you stopped trying. Dana nodded. You can't blame us for finding comfort in each other. My head throbbed. My vision swam, but my mind cleared. They were building a narrative, one where I was the villain, the cold wife, and the emotionally unavailable sister. I could fight it now, scream, cry, throw them both out. But they'd expect that. They'd prepared for that. So instead, I did something they'd never expect. I stayed quiet and let them think their story worked. I let them believe I'd accept the blame. And while they celebrated their victory, I planned their destruction. At 3 a.m. in the morning, while they slept in the guest room, I locked myself in my bathroom and watched the nanny cam footage. It captured everything. The flirting, the kissing, and the planning. The way they mocked me. The shove that knocked me unconscious. It even caught Dana whispering, "She's too soft. She'll cry, not fight." I sat on the cold tile floor, phone in hand, watching my life dismantle itself in high definition. The first video showed Mark and Dana on the couch with her hand on his knee, his arm around her shoulders. The second showed them kissing Dot, and the third showed them laughing about me. She actually believed I was looking for apartments. Dana said, Mark grinned. She believes everything you tell her. I watched the shove, watched myself fall, watched them panic, then quickly compose themselves. I watched Dana say, "She's too soft. She'll cry, not fight." So I saved every file and downloaded them twice. They were wrong about one thing. I wouldn't just cry. Instead of confrontation, I documented everything. Screenshots, timestamps, audio clips, and financial movements. Mark was transferring money to a joint fund he secretly opened with Dana. They were planning to move out together, into a house I picked. I went through our bank statements carefully. $500 here, $1,000 there, always labeled business expenses or miscellaneous. So I cross-referenced the dates with Dana's move-in date. Every transfer started after she arrived. I found the account, joint ownership Mark and Dana's names, not mine. They'd saved almost $20,000. Money from our joint account, money I helped earn, and the house. I found the saved listing on Mark's laptop, a 3-bedroom house on the east side of town. Beautiful, modern, and everything I'd said I wanted when we talked about upgrading. He was planning our dream house with her. I screenshot everything, printed copies, saved them in 3 separate locations. Evidence, cold, irrefutable. Dana started telling relatives I was emotionally unstable. Mark agreed with her. Their plan was obvious. Destroy my reputation first, then leave me as the crazy wife they had to escape. But I stayed quiet, and they mistook quiet for weak. My cousin called me, concerned. "Dana says you've been really stressed lately. Are you okay?" I forced a smile into my voice. "I'm fine, just busy with work." She said you've been acting paranoid, accusing her of things. Did she? She's worried about you. I bet she was. Mark told his brother I'd been difficult, lately, cold, distant, and unreasonable. His brother suggested marriage counseling. Mark agreed, but never scheduled an appointment. They were building a case, slowly and carefully. When they finally left, everyone would understand. Poor Mark, stuck with an unstable wife. Poor Dana, caught in the middle. But they underestimated one thing. I wasn't unstable, rather I was strategic. And strategy beats chaos every time. While gathering evidence, I found something else. Mark had violated a major ethical rule at his job, something he hid by forging one of my signatures on a document. That was a career-ending offense. Once again, they handed me a weapon while believing I had none. I was looking through old files when I found it, a financial disclosure form, required by his company for employees above a certain level. The form required spousal signature. My signature was on it, but I'd never seen the document before. I compared it to my real signature on our mortgage papers. Close, but not exact. The loop on my E was wrong. I checked the date. 6 months ago, right around the time Mark got his promotion. He'd forged my signature rather than show me the form. Why? I read the disclosures carefully. He declared investments I didn't know about. Money moved in ways that didn't match our tax returns. If his company found out, he'd be fired immediately, maybe even prosecuted. I made copies. Another weapon in my growing arsenal. Dana's finances were worse than she let on. If my parents ever discovered the lies she told them to borrow money, Dana would be cut off instantly. She built her entire life on manipulation. All I had to do was pull the first block. I called my mother one afternoon. Casual and normal. Hey, Mom, did Dana ever pay you back that loan? Silence. What loan? The $3,000 she borrowed last year for her car repair. More silence. She told me she paid you back in January. She did. My mother's voice tightened. No, she didn't. I let the information sit. Oh, maybe I'm confused. Sorry, Mom. But the seed was planted. I did the same with my father, my aunt, and my uncle. Dana had borrowed from everyone. Small amounts. 500 here. 1,000 there. She told each person she'd repaid the others. None of it was true. She owed our family over $15,000. And now they were starting to compare notes. I arranged a family dinner under the guise of announcing some good news. Mark and Dana came dressed like a couple. Dana wore the necklace I gave her for her birthday, the same one she wore the day she kissed Mark on camera. Perfect. I sent the invitations through email. Casual and friendly. I have some exciting news to share with everyone. Please come to dinner Friday night. My parents came. My aunt and uncle. My cousin Tyler. Everyone gathered in the dining room, curious. Mark arrived late, Dana beside him. They walked in together, matching smiles. Dana wore a red dress, low cut, expensive, and the necklace silver delicate, with a small diamond pendant. I'd given it to her for her 25th birthday. In the camera footage, she wore it while kissing my husband. I greeted them warmly, hugged Dana, kissed Mark's cheek, and watched. They relaxed. Their mistake. Over dinner, I kept the conversation light. Asked about everyone's week, laughed at my father's jokes. Then I stood up. I wanted to show you all something. I turned on the TV. At dinner, I played a harmless-looking video clip on the TV. The first 5 seconds looked like nothing, just the living room. Mark and Dana relaxed. Then the camera angle shifted. Dana nearly dropped her fork, and Mark went pale. But I stopped the video before anything explicit showed. Then the room went silent. The screen showed our living room, empty couch, and normal lighting. Dana exhaled. Mark took a sip of water. They thought I was showing vacation footage or something equally boring. Then the timestamp appeared in the corner, and it was a date from 3 weeks ago. The camera angle shifted slightly. Mark and Dana came into frame, sitting close. I mean, way too close. Dana's fork clattered against her plate, and Mark's hand froze halfway to his mouth. I pressed pause again, and this time the frame froze on Dana's hand on Mark's thigh. The table went silent. My mother's eyes widened. My father leaned forward. I smiled. Just thought everyone should see what's been happening in my home. I didn't show the kiss, didn't show anything explicit, just enough to shatter their confidence. Instead of exposing everything, I calmly said, "Some things just reveal themselves in time." It terrified them more than a full confrontation. They realized I was no longer predictable and no longer controllable. Their reunion, their confidence, it all began to crumble. Dana stood up fast, chair scraping. "This is out of context. Elise is trying to—" "To what?" I asked softly. "Show the truth." Mark's face had gone from pale to red. "Elise, we need to talk now privately." "No," my father said. His voice was hard. "I think we all need to hear this." I looked at Dana. "Do you want to explain? Or should I play more?" Her eyes darted to Mark, but Mark looked at the floor. I turned off the TV. "Actually, I think that's enough for tonight. Everyone can decide for themselves what they saw." My mother stared at Dana. "How could you?" Dana's carefully constructed mask cracked, and watching it happen felt better than any revenge I could have planned. Mark accused Dana of not being careful, and Dana accused Mark of not covering for her. Their relationship built on betrayal couldn't survive pressure, and they started arguing in my parents' dining room while I just watched. Mark turned on Dana first. "You said nobody would find out. You said Elise was clueless." Dana's voice rose. "You're the one who left receipts everywhere. You're the one who kept texting me on your work phone. I texted you because you kept calling me at 2 a.m. in the morning. I called because you promised we'd leave together." My father stood up. "Enough. Both of you get out of my house." Dana started crying. Real tears this time. "Daddy, please let me explain." "Explain what?" "That you slept with your sister's husband." Mark tried to salvage something. "Sir, with all respect, your daughter wasn't meeting my needs." But my uncle quickly cut him off. "Get out before I throw you out." Mark and Dana left together, still arguing as they walked to the car. I stayed calm and collected. I barely said a word, and I destroyed them. 2 days later, I submitted the forged signature evidence to Mark's employer through the anonymous ethics portal. They launched an internal investigation. Mark panicked, assuming Dana leaked something. Dana screamed that he was ruining her life. How poetic! The email was simple and professional. "I have evidence of ethical violations by employee Mark Brennan. See attached documents." I included the forged signature, the financial disclosures, and bank statements showing unexplained transfers. I sent it at midnight, anonymous and untraceable. By noon the next day, Mark was called into HR. He came home furious. "Someone reported me." "Was it you?" "I was folding laundry." "Reported you for what?" I replied. "Don't play dumb." "I don't know what you're talking about," I replied. He grabbed his phone. "Called Dana. Did you do something?" I could hear her screaming through the phone. "Why would I ruin this? You're ruining everything." They fought for an hour. I finished the laundry. Calm and unbothered, watching their alliance crumble was just sweeter than I'd imagined. I forwarded proof of Dana's lies and unpaid debts to my parents, and they froze all support to Dana immediately. Dana relied on their help for rent, food, phone bills, everything. She shattered. I compiled everything. A spreadsheet, dates, amounts, who she borrowed from, and the lies she told each person. I emailed it to my parents with a simple subject line, "The truth about Dana." My mother called me an hour later. "Is this real?" "Yes," I replied. "All of it?" Again I answered her, "Yes." She went silent for a moment, and then she said, "Thank you for telling us." They called Dana, told her the money was gone. No more loans, no more bailouts. Dana called me hysterical. You destroyed me. You ruined everything. No, I said quietly. You did that yourself. She sobbed. How am I supposed to live? I guess you'll figure it out. Like I had to. Then I hung up. She called back 17 times, but I didn't answer. For the first time in my life, I let Dana face consequences alone. Desperate, Mark and Dana tried to reunite and present a united front hoping to fix their reputations. But during a tense meeting with my parents, the truth surfaced. Mark blamed Dana for seducing him, and Dana blamed Mark for promising to leave me. I didn't say a single word. They destroyed themselves. My parents demanded a meeting, neutral ground, a coffee shop downtown. Mark and Dana arrived together, hands clasped. They practiced their story. Mark spoke first. We know this looks bad, but we genuinely care about each other. We didn't plan this. My father's expression was stone. You didn't plan to sleep with your wife's sister? Dana jumped in. It just happened. We tried to fight it. My mother shook her head. You're pathetic. Both of you. That's when they turned on each other. Mark's voice rose. I told you we should have waited longer. Dana's eyes narrowed. You said you'd leave her last month. You said we'd be together. I said maybe. You pushed everything too fast. You're the one who came to my room every night. My parents stood up. We're done here, my father said. I followed them out, leaving Mark and Dana still arguing. Mark lost his job, and Dana lost the trust of everyone in the family. Their attempt to rewrite history backfired so spectacularly that even their friends cut ties. Every lie they told tangled around them like rope. Mark was fired after the investigation confirmed the ethical violations. The company pressed charges for fraud. Dana was evicted from 3 apartments in 4 months. Nobody would co-sign for her. She tried to reconnect with old friends, but they'd all heard what happened. Social media made sure of that. Not from me. I stayed silent online, but my cousin Tyler didn't. Neither did my uncle or my aunt. The story spread. Mark and Dana became cautionary tales. The husband who destroyed his marriage for his sister-in-law. The sister who betrayed her own blood. They tried dating other people. Nobody wanted them. They tried moving to different cities. Their reputations followed. Every bridge they burned left them more isolated, more desperate, and more broken. I moved into a small but beautiful apartment across town. Peaceful and warm. All mine. I restarted my life with clarity and confidence. I joined a support group, reconnected with friends, and rebuilt myself from the ground up. The divorce was quick. Mark didn't fight it. I got the house, half his retirement, and monthly support payments. I sold the house immediately. Too many bad memories. The apartment I found was perfect. Top floor, big windows, and a balcony overlooking the park. I decorated it myself. No input from anyone else. Just my taste and my choices. I joined a therapy group for betrayed spouses. Met people who understood. I reconnected with college friends I'd lost touch with. Started going out again and laughing again. And I even started dating. Nothing serious, but just rediscovering who I was outside of Mark and Dana's shadow. Every morning, I woke up grateful, not for what happened, but for what I learned. Protecting people who hurt you isn't love, it's self-destruction. Mark and Dana eventually tried to shift blame again, but the evidence I'd quietly placed in the right hands spoke louder than any excuses. Their reputations, finances, and support systems collapsed. Not because of me, but because of their own arrogance. I didn't have to destroy them. I just stopped protecting them. And in the end, I walked away not as the wounded wife, but as the woman who finally understood that choosing yourself is the ultimate revenge. A year later, I heard through my cousin that Mark and Dana tried to make it work. They moved in together, fought constantly, broke up, got back together. The relationship built on lies couldn't survive in daylight. Mark's career never recovered. Dana burned through jobs like matches. They blamed each other, blamed me, and blamed everyone but themselves. But I didn't care anymore. I'd moved on to a life they couldn't touch. I'd rebuilt everything they tried to take, and I did it without them. The best revenge isn't destruction. It's building something beautiful from the ashes they left behind. I chose myself finally for once, and that choice saved my life. If you like this story, please like this video. Hit the subscribe button to this channel and share your impressions of this story in the comments. There's always another story worth hearing.